Now, why don't I use the title greatest of all time? I use the title greatest of their generation because honestly, it wouldn't be fair to them as an athlete to compare their accomplishments. I know, of course, we love to do that. It makes for a great discussion. Now, whether you're in a web forum, wherever you're on, let's say on the net, on your team's website, or on the basketball court, or in a hockey rink, whatever, or in the dressing room, wherever you are discussing these, of course, it makes for great conversation. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't, add up. Here's why. You see, we cannot compare the eras. Obviously, we cannot say that the 80s and 90s and the 2000s were better. You cannot compare the fact that, okay, players of this generation are better than the ones previous. It just doesn't work, because if we look at the NHL, for example, they're under a salary cap. So if they're under a salary cap, there are going to be no more dynasties, and in today's day and age, it's very hard to have a dynasty, especially, with the whole salary cap. Very difficult. I mean, even the owner of the Patriots, his name escapes me at the moment, and he even Robert Kraft, he even said that under a salary cap, it's very hard to have a dynasty, but somehow he's pulled it off. It's a very rare occasion that it happened. And the last time to have a dynasty in sports, not for New England Patriots, but in hockey, was the Pittsburgh Penguins. They won back-to-back 2 or 3 years ago, and the last team to do that was the Detroit Red Wings 20 years ago. So we cannot compare eras. It's different eras, different styles of play. We cannot compare, we love to compare, of course, Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Sidney Crosby, Wayne Gretzky. We love comparing different players in the same sport. But the problem is it just doesn't hold up. Different players, different eras, different teams, and they just bring different assets to the table, period. And also, I just want to bring this up for LeBron and Michael Jordan, is that LeBron is heavier. Okay, another point I want to bring up is LeBron is heavier. He's taller. So therefore, he cannot perform the same tasks Michael Jordan does. That's just impossible, to do it. So that doesn't mean that LeBron is less of a player than Jordan. It all means that LeBron compensates that in other ways. Because you're not going to have one player, one generation, and the next generation to completely break all the stats the original guy did. That's not going to happen. Because I know many people say, oh, LeBron hasn't done this, or Crosby hasn't done this, Gretzky has, or Jordan has done this. Stop right there. It doesn't work like that. Because you cannot call yourself the greatest, or the whole idea of the greatest is that a lot of people do this. It says, oh, if the new player doesn't top every title or break every record, then he's not really the greatest. It doesn't work like that. I hate to burst your bubble. That's why I don't like using the term the GOAT. Because for me, I just want to be entertained when I watch a sport. So someone who loves the sport, that's what I want to watch. And sports is a business. You have to sell tickets. You have to move merchandise. Otherwise, you relocate or you close down. Either one, So we have to take that into consideration. And also, another thing I notice a lot of people do this is they'll compare championships. Oh, LeBron James has 3 as opposed to Michael Jordan having 6. Or Sidney Crosby has 3 championships. Wayne Gretzky has 4. So therefore, neither of them are the greatest. First of all, I do not base, and neither should you, I do not base victory or greatness based on championships. Here's why. Because you have third and fourth string players. Okay? So let's say the fourth string player, third string player, what have you, of the Chicago Bulls when Jordan was playing, wins all those titles. So that fourth string player now, you have to consider greater than LeBron James, even though you can't even identify him. So how can he be the greatest? So we cannot use sports titles as markers for greatness. Because if we did that, Dan Marino would not be in the equation. And Dan Marino is practically the greatest Miami Dolphin to ever play, the game. Quarterback, never won a championship. Matt Sundin is considered by many to be the greatest Maple Leaf to ever play the game. Never won a championship. Never won a Stanley Cup. Marino never won a Super Bowl. So if we are to consider championships as greatness, then there'd be a lot of people eliminated. Both in the NBA, NFL everywhere. A lot of people would be eliminated. So we cannot do that. What I like to do is MVPs in the regular season and in the playoffs and in the finals, all-star games, and point totals. Because those you cannot manipulate. You see, you cannot fluke an MVP. You cannot fluke point totals. You cannot fluke all-star games because it's the fans voting you in. So that determines the greatness for me right there of a player. When I mean greatness, I don't mean, of all. I just mean of that specific era. And also we have to consider the fact is, and I heard this done in other areas, is that, Jordan has sold more, so therefore he's great. Like, sold more jerseys and shoes. Here's the thing. They didn't have analytics back then. So you can try to compare selling, let's say, 1 million jerseys, okay, to move them per month, per year, what have you, or how much money did you make off them? You see, you could sell one jersey for, say, $100 and it'll sell 1 million copies. You can sell one jersey for $200 and sell, let's say you move only 75. Just because at 25 disparage in the numbers, you make more with the second one than you do with the first one, but you move more merchandise with the first one. You see what I'm talking about? Which cares more, moving the merchandise or making the money? You see, so we don't have that analytics back then. So that's why when people says, oh, this person is the greatest, that person is the greatest, oh, look, it's how many people watch the sport because of them. If you have people who are not basketball fans tuning in to watch LeBron play, that's done something. That's doing something. If you have people tuning into the NHL to watch Sidney Crosby play or Alston Matthews playing, that's what you want. You want butts in the seats. You want eyes on the TV. You want the ratings up. Remember, sports is a business. It's who draws in the money. So if you want to talk about the greatest, talk about the greatest of their generation. It's not the greatest of all time, period, because that's a misnomer done by the media, again, to sell tickets, sell merchandise, and get the ratings up. That's all it's done for. It's a business at the end of the day. It's a business, period. So that's all I have to point out on this. So thank you for tuning in. Comment, like, subscribe. Click on the links below to donate to the channel. And I'll see you in the main event.